Welcome to this episode of Renovations for Beginners, a show where we show you, the viewers at home, the fundamentals to renovating from conceptualising an idea to bringing it to reality. I'm Michael Dray, your host for the show, and you can follow us on Facebook. Just search Renovations for Beginners, or you can email us on any aspects to renovating or questions you may want answered for upcoming shows on renovationsforbeginners@gmail.com. This is our very first episode, which is exciting times for us and the show and the crew, and hopefully we have many more episodes in the future. On today's show, we're going to explore the dream stage of your project. It's important to get the dream stage right. It might seem hairy-fairy, but believe me, making sure you get what you want out of the renovation process is vitally important to leading a happy life long after the project's finished. Our guest for today's show is someone I've worked with before on a couple of projects, and both commercial and residential, and she's one half of partnership with her sister Deborah Craig in Borgelt and Craig Architects. Julie Borgelt, welcome to today's show.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
So Julie, I did mention just before I introduce you that the dream stage is vitally important.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So in terms of the dream stage, like what we're going to talk about today on the show is mainly the brief and the budget. And but basically, before we get into that, should people renovate and should people not renovate?
Well, I guess most people renovate because classic reason they bought the worst house on the best street, and we all know the renovator's delight, don't we? Or the charismatic cottage that needs lots of work and tweaking. Yeah. The other one is that people's family might grow, so whether there's an imminent baby or there's aged care, school kids that need different facilities, different storage needed, a better sort of home office that you can work with. The other reason that we're getting more and more is energy efficiency. So that's another reason to renovate. And
do you ever come across people that actually plan to renovate and they really shouldn't because they're sort of like they're only renovating purely out of emotions or wanting to, keep up with the Joneses in the street as well?
I guess if they're wanting to compare to the sparkling new house next door, probably look at painting or cleaning the house before you even consider renovating, because It's a very long, it can be potentially a very long process, and it's cost and time, which is very disruptive for some people's lives, so that can cause a lot of stress. So don't go into it lightly at all.
So like basically, like from the very start, even at the dream stage, to actually realising the end product, like it can even take up to 5 years, like for...
There can be really tricky town planning laws involved with heritage houses or character homes, and you want to be very sensitive with some of the areas around Brisbane and Queensland as well.
Yep. Okay. So have you ever come across people that like have all these grand ideas and they may even, and you look at it and they go, well, you might be over-capitalising?
I guess look at the area. So you weigh up, and often the bank will give you advice on how much you can actually afford to spend. You look at how much you bought the house for originally and what the house potentially could sell for. So look at neighbourhood houses and what their going rate is, and see what the difference is between what you bought it for, what you could sell it for. That gives you a little bit of cost to play with and an idea of how much you can afford to spend without over-capitalising.
Cover that in more detail in later segments concerning the budget. But firstly, with the actual basic steps to renovating, we have, with the dream stage, we have like formulating a brief, we have setting a budget, and then we have concept plans. They get done based on the brief, and then you settle on a design. That's correct. And then moving on with that, and which we'll probably deal with in later episodes, is you got the DA and BA process, getting detailed drawings done, and selecting builders, then tendering, and then probably the final stage is the building stage. really is.
So as you can see, it can be quite lengthy going from start to finished product and moving in and being happy with the end result.
Generally speaking, the costs of moving will also outweigh the benefits, because with the cost of moving, you got stamp duty, you got real estate fees, which conveyancing
and removal costs themselves, and the stress of changing area and neighbours.
So it's obviously, you know, when you weigh up those costs, moving,
often
and then
better to renovate.
Well, often better. That's true, and that's what we should do. As I said, we'll go to a break, and when we do come back, we'll get into the in depth into the brief, which is all about your ideas, conveying them to a person like Julie. So we'll be right back.